Hi grade 7s, welcome back to another one of our video lessons. So today, instead of having a lesson on the theory and us going forward in the textbook, I'm going to talk about the test that you guys are going to be writing next week Friday. Or you'll get it on Thursday, but it will be due on Friday. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the textbook from the beginning and talk about the important bits that I'm going to focus on that you must make sure that you know. Okay. And in terms of the test, if you guys remember, we haven't written our first test yet. We were about to write it and then we went into lockdown. So this test is going to be for term one's work. And then once we are back, once we've gone over the work that I've been doing during quarantine and we're all on the same page, then we're going to write another test, which is for this term. We also have some class activities to do, so we'll do that once we're back at school. Okay. Alright guys, so as I go through the textbook, I suggest you take your textbook out, and as I'm talking about certain things, you just mark them off and make sure you can do that. Okay. Alright, so let's start off from term 1. So I'm going to go up to page 46. So that just takes us up to the construction of circles. So I remember teaching you guys up to that point. We started doing the circles and that's where we left off. So I'm going to test you up to page 46 and everything after that will be in the next test. Okay. Alright, so if we start at the beginning, we go to whole numbers on page 4. Alright, so here we're talking about the different numbers that we can get. We have whole numbers, we have natural numbers, we have integers. What are all those things mean? You must be able to tell me. And then in the next page, we are rounding off numbers. Okay, guys, so rounding off, I'll give you an example. So let's say I have a number 3,258.356. Okay, something like that. So now I can ask you many different things. Okay, so the procedure for rounding off is always the same. So let's say I ask you, round off this number to 2 decimal places. Now what that means, the 2 decimal places, is that in your final answer, I want to only have 2 decimal places. Everything else needs to be rounded off. So that is the part that we are rounding. Everything past the 2 decimal places. Okay. So if I want 2 decimal places, we look at the next digit. Okay, so if I say 2 decimal, you look at the third digit. If I say 1 decimal, you look at the second digit. So here I said round off to 2 decimal places. That's this digit here. We look at the next one. So if this digit is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we leave this digit the same. If this is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then we add one more to this. Okay, this is a 6, so it's going to add one more to this. So now we can't say equals because the two don't equal. We're rounding it off. So you have to give me wavy equal signs like that. So saying approximately 3258.36. So that 6 added one more to this 5, and that 5 became a 6. Because 56 is closer to 60 than it is to 50. So we round it up. Okay. Guys, I could say round off to the nearest tens. Okay, not decimal places, but tens or hundreds or thousands. So if I say tens, here's my tens. We look at the next digit. 8. Would this add one more? Yes, it would add one more into here, and we would get this to be a 6 because 58 is very close to 60. That's exactly where we're rounding it off to. Okay, so it doesn't matter what I ask you to round off, the answer is always the same. Go to that digit or that placeholder or whatever I'm asking you and look at the next digit, and that's what you're rounding off on. Based on that, you're telling me, are we going to add one more or not? Guys, I'm not going to ask you to round off to the nearest fives. I don't like doing that, so we're going to stick with decimals and tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and so on. Okay. Right, so let's continue. So the next few exercises are all about that. So arranging numbers, um, rounding them off, figuring out how the number line works, and so on. Then the next section is properties of whole numbers. Remember, that's where we had our different properties, our commutative property, our associative property, distributive property, and inverse operations. Okay, I would like you to know those. I can ask you one of these as a definition, say, state the commutative property. Okay. All right, guys, let's continue. So calculations with whole numbers. Okay, so that's addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. Okay, guys, you must be able to long divide. I'm sure we've done long division. Yes, we have. That's on page 10. Okay, so if I ask you multiply these two numbers, these three numbers, if I even say three numbers, multiply the first two, get an answer, and then multiply that answer by another number. Okay, so guys, I expect you to do that. I'm not going to go over it again. It's addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, very important. I'm definitely asking you to do that. Please practice and make sure you know how to do that. Okay. Right, order of operations ties into all of this. So once you've learned your basic operations, now we need to know which operations are we doing first. So remember, it's always BODMAS, brackets of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So brackets, whatever in brackets you have, you deal with first. If you have an exponent outside those brackets, we still deal with the brackets, then the exponent, okay? If I have a square root sign, treat it as brackets, because anything under the square root sign, you cannot take out or multiply in. It's one thing under that root sign. So think of a root sign as a bracket. Okay, of, if you see a word of, it means multiplication, so change that straight away. Okay, division and multiplication are interchangeable. So we can either do division or multiplication or both at the same time. And addition, subtraction is now also the same thing left for last. Okay. All right, guys. So I expect you to know the order of operations. Now, the next page, on page 12, we are talking about multiples and factors. Okay, so remember the highest common factor, the lowest common multiple. And what we did is we didn't do the tree diagram, we did the ladder method, where we broke down the numbers into their prime factors, and from there we worked out what is the highest common factor between those numbers and what is the lowest common multiple, what is the number into which both of those numbers go into. Okay. All right, guys, so that is page 12. Important. I'm definitely asking you HCF and LCM how to work that out, so please make sure you know how to do that. All right, then we have page 14. We have some loans. Okay, so that's not too important. There's just a few formulas that you need to work out and use. Solving problems, word problems. So I'll give you a word problem. You remember, how do we deal with word problems? We translate them into maths first, and then you try to solve for the unknown. You also want to tell me what your unknown is. So if I say a boy's age is 5 times bigger than his mom, or I mean, okay, other way around, his mom is obviously older. But the point is that we can say, let X be the boy's age. Therefore, his mom's age is a fifth of that. Okay. All right, so page 16 is our word problems. Guys, we did these in class. We practiced. We also did revision. So what I even recommend for as prep for this test, go over all the blue revision sections in your book. We've done them. Put the answers away, start from scratch, and do them again and see how good you are. All right, topic number 2, exponents. Okay, remember, exponents and square root signs. Okay, they come hand in hand, and they are opposite or inverse operations of each other. Okay, so here you guys need to know what are perfect squares, what are perfect cubes. Can you list the first, say, 5 or 10 perfect squares or cubes for me? Okay, so you need to understand how rooting something works and how, say, squaring something works. Okay, what is a square of 9 and what is the square root of 9? Square of 9 is 81, root of 9 is 3. Okay, all right, guys, let's continue. So the next page, 21, it looks at use laws of operations with exponents. Okay, so it's the same thing. So look at your equation and look at the plus and the times divide, and that will tell you what we are doing first. Okay, if you guys are struggling with exponents, let's say we have something like 3 squared times 2 squared, all right, and you don't know what to do. If this is confusing, you should know that this is just 3 times 3. But to make it easier, you can just write it out. 3 times 3 times 2 squared is 2 times 2. And then just multiply it out. But guys, at this stage, I do want you to know what is a square and what is a cube. All right. Okay, moving on. So page 22, 23 is just more calculations and more examples using exponents and BODMAS. Okay, calculations with exponents. Okay, guys, 24, same thing. Page 25 now is a little bit of word problems. So don't stress too much about word problems. I'm not going to give you a lot of word problems. I'll give you one, maybe with 2 parts. So that's the most that I'll give you. Okay, guys, so again, revision on page 27. So do that as a test. Sit down and test your knowledge against that. Okay. Right, then if we continue, we have page 30, which is geometry of straight lines. Okay, let's continue. Sorry about that. There was someone knocking on my door. All right, so topic 3, page 30, geometry of straight lines. So here we talked about straight lines, perpendicular and parallel lines. Okay, so as you go through it, basically we talked about what are these different things, how do we denote them, what is the different symbols that we're going to use. So remember the little parallel arrows and the 90-degree angle and so on. Okay. Then we had to talk about which lines are parallel, which ones are not. So I'm going to ask you that, guys. It's not very difficult. Again, revision on page 33. Try that. Okay, let's continue. Then topic 4, constructions. Okay, guys, I'm definitely asking you constructions, okay, because we did go through this in class. We did draw stuff. We did do a lot of geometry. Okay, so page 36, classifying angles, so different types of angles that we had. Remember, we did a class activity on that. Or was it an assignment? I think one of those. Naming angles. Remember the 3-letter notation and the 1-letter notation. So how do we do that? Then we get to page 38, 39 is measuring angles with your protractor. Okay, so guys, I want you to have protractors and the drawing set with you for this test. Okay, page 40, 41, we are constructing different angles. Okay, page 42 and 43 asked you to construct different angles, work through them. We've done that. Page 43, construct triangles. Okay, guys, with the triangles, it's really easy. So let's say I give you a triangle. Let me just find the pen, 1 second. It's in my pocket. All right, so let's say I give you, I say, right, draw me a triangle with the sides of 12 centimeters, 7 centimeters, and let's say 8 centimeters. Okay. So the step 1 that you do is you take, say, the longest side. You're going to draw a line, a construction line. On that, you're going to mark off 12 centimeters and make a dark line there as part of base of your triangle. So this is 12 centimeters. Okay. Now, what you're going to do, you could have even used your compass for this or your ruler. But at this stage now, you know the one side is 7, the other side is 8. Okay, so what you do is you open up your compass to the size of one side, which is 7. You're going to put your needle point into here, stretch it out at 7 centimeters and make an arc like that. Now go to the other side, make it 8 centimeters, put your needle point there, open it up and make a mark like that. Okay, now where these two lines cross, that's the point of your other triangle, okay, or the vertex. And all you do now is you're going to join these two together like that, and we are done with this triangle. Okay, we can even label it 7 centimeters, 8 centimeters. Okay. Guys, whatever you do, when you're doing these things, do not erase these construction lines and this one over here, okay? because those construction lines are proof for me that you did it correctly, that you didn't just measure it with your protractor or your ruler and you just draw it in. I want to see these arcs. That's where you're getting your marks from doing it correctly. Okay. All right, guys, so that is your triangles, page 43 and page 44. Okay, then we talked about quadrilaterals. Okay, so quadrilaterals, we have different quads. There's a square, a rectangle, a parallelogram, and a rhombus, and a kite. Okay, I need you guys to know what those different shapes are and what are their properties. Like parallel lines, is it 90 degrees? Are the lines the same? And so on. Okay, so I'm going to stop for this test at page 46. Okay. So everything up to page 46 is going to be in this test. Guys, please go through the stuff, go through the exercises. Don't just look at it. Open your book, try it again. Take an exam pad out and just see, can I do this again? Do I remember how I did this? Okay. All right, cool, guys. That's the video. So next week, during our Skype lesson, you can ask me some more questions if you want. But make sure you check when we have our Skype session. So we'll have our Skype session on Thursday. That's when you're going to get your test. So actually, I can't help you at that Skype session. But yeah, guys, good luck then. You are welcome to type me a message on Skype as text, and I'll try to assist you there. But then on Monday's lesson, I'm going to continue with the work in the textbook, and we'll carry on from there. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the revision and you know exactly what needs doing. Sorry, my mouse is not working, battery's flat. Yeah, guys, stay safe and I'll hopefully see you at school very soon. Ciao.